Hello and welcome back to Horus Heresy. We're going to do something a little bit different today, although we're starting with a little blank screen there. And what we're going to do with the new edition of Heresy 3.0 coming out and a new way to sort of put a force together, I thought it would be useful to give you a quick lowdown of how I would put my first force together, basically. Now, you're always going to start with your HQ choices, and I feel like 3.0 is a little more restrictive than 2.0, strangely. Certainly at the lower points. Not sure at the 3000 level it might even out. But at the lower points level, it is a bit more restrictive. You do have a HQ tax. Now, we're only going for 1500 points, so ideally, I probably don't want more than one HQ, and the only HQ to go for is going to be a Centurion. The reason being that he opens up 2 auxiliary detachments. The other option to that would very likely be to pick a Praetor who opens an auxiliary or an apex detachment. We're not going to go into all that because there's plenty of other sort of creators out there who've done a better job than me. This is literally just how I'm going to put together my first 1500 point list. So we're going to start with a Centurion. Stick him in the middle. My guy's in Cataphractii armor. He's got a Thunder Hammer. I think that's 110 points. I've got it behind me somewhere. Yeah. About 110 points. Let's just make sure. 110 points. So Centurion, Cataphractii armor, and he opens 2 auxiliary detachments. The other thing you're going to need is line units, and we're going to start with the bog standard tax squad. We're going to need something for the tax to go in, so we're going to give them each a rhino. So I can lift this up, move this a little bit, move this back, and we are ready. So what I've done there is we've put down 2 10-man tacks and got ourselves 2 rhinos. Now, the other thing we're going to show you in this video is why it's really important to magnetize your weapons options on your tanks. And you'll see that on these rhinos, I've magnetized the sponsor weapons. We're going to come back to that in a second. So, got our list started. 2 rhinos, 2 10-man tacks, and a Centurion, Centurion in Cataphractii armor. The 10-man tacks I've modelled with certain weapons, so I'm going to have to pay for them. This guy's got a plasma pistol and a power maul, so an extra 15 points there. This guy's got a nuncio and a power fist, so another 25 points there. So we've got 125 and 115. The rhino here, you can see it's got a dozer blade. I'm going to swap those over because I want them with that unit. So another 5 points for the dozer blade will pay it. So we're at 60 and 65 there. So then the best thing to do now is we're looking at picking our auxiliary detachments. Now, I really want to have a Terminator squad in this game. So for one of my auxiliary detachments, I'm going to pick a Terminator squad. All right, so we're going to have Shock Troop, I think it's called now. Here's my Cataphractii. Boop, 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 boop. 6 of those, or 5 of those really, just a bog standard squad. Going with my Centurion. I've given them various weapons, 2 chain fists, because chain fists are going to be really good at dealing with tanks, which I think is going to be a big thing this edition. So 2 chain fists, power fist, power sword, and a thunder hammer on the sergeant, simply because he's modelled with it. And they're going to need something to go in a vehicle. Now, normally we go for a Land Raider. That's exactly what I'm going to do today. But I don't really want to pick another auxiliary detachment to get a Land Raider in, because then I'm going to be stuck putting points in, and I'm going to have to pick another HQ to open up more detachments. So we're going to go to the prime slots. Now, what you'll note, probably from reading the book, is that you get a prime slot for your Centurion and a prime slot for one of your troops. Now, the one for the troops, I don't think is massively needed on tax. It doesn't do a great deal for them. So we're going to use the prime slot on the tax to get us a heavy vehicle to go with our Terminators. And for that, we're going to use the beautiful Land Raider. So we're going to stick the Land Raider in there behind them. There we go. That is their vehicle. and that's used the prime slot from one of our troops. I've just noticed that I'm missing my sponson weapons. I don't know where they are. Where are they? All right, well, the sponsor weapons aren't on there for now. We'll come back to those. No, can't find them. Oh well, thought I was ready, thought I was prepared, but I'm not. So we've used the prime slot from here to get ourselves a Land Raider. The prime slot on the Centurion we're going to use to give him, I think it's Paragon of Battle, gives you +1 weapon skill, +1 ballistic skill, +1 attack. Very useful weapon skill in hand-to-hand now for your heroes, because this is Hero and Tank Edition. Weapon skills are a very important stat these days. So we're going to give him Paragon of Battle. And now we need to fill the other auxiliary detachment. Just as a note, the Land Raider, 265 points. So we're going to need to fill the other auxiliary detachment. And what you should probably do here is pick a detachment that you can fill. So a detachment that you can get the 3 or 4 units that it'll take and have a little variety in. Now, for me personally today, I've just finished painting some Predator tanks. And I really want to get them in the game, if I'm absolutely honest today. I really, really, really want to get them in the game. So I'm going to pick a tank detachment. Can't even think what it's called. Let me just check. An Armoured Fist? No, it's probably the other one. The names are crazy. Oh, Armoured Support. Okay, so we're going to pick an Armoured Support detachment today, and that's just because I've finished painting 3 Predators and I really want to get them in on my game. So let's get those 3 Predators in. 1, put it there. 2, put it there. And 3, put it there. Now, they've all got their last sponsons on currently, and I haven't put any main weapons on the top because they are magnetized, and it allows me to just have a bit of variety in the sort of weapons that I take. And it also allows me to sort of make it easier to fill the points towards the end of the list. Normally you'll get to about 1350 and then be like, right, 150 to do everything up kind of thing, or to, you know, put the weapons on, etc., etc. With my Predators, I've decided I want a little bit of a mix. So the first one, let's take this one, we're actually going to have the Predator Cannon. Boop, stick that on, Predator Cannon. And we're going to change the lasses for bolters. So we're just going to slide those off. Boop. Get rid of those. Get myself 2 bolters, I think. Yeah, there we go. So we've got 2 bolters. One in there. Get it in. There we go. And the other one, not very well lit. Bolter in there. There we go. So bolter, bolter, Predator Cannon. So this is going to be my tank for sort of dealing with TAC troops, really, like light infantry. So we've got one geared towards light infantry. Next guy we're going to have geared towards heavy tanks. So we're going to put the Magnum Melter on. Okay, there we go. And we are going to keep him with the Sponson lasses. He's going to go hunting sort of other Armour 13, Armour 14 vehicles alongside the Chain Fists in my Cataphractii squad. And then the last of the Predators over here, we're actually going to go with something I've not played before, and that is a Conversion Beamer. And we're going to stick with the lasses as well there. We had the points for it. So again, it's a couple of lasses. Maybe, I mean, it's probably going to be sitting still at a distance anyway to fire its Conversion Beamer, and that is within las range. So we're going to use that to maybe hunt elites or help out on heavier tanks if there are any. So we've got a pretty good list there. The Predators all told were 140 for the Magnum Melter, 150 for the heavy Conversion Beam Cannon, and 100 for the standard cheap one here. I had some points left, so we've got tanks. We may as well have another one. And I've got this guy painted, which is a Scorpius. So we're going to put him in there as well for 120 points. Now I have got quite a few points left to do things up. So the first thing we know is that the rhinos don't have weapons. And one of the great advantages of magnetising the weapons here is that it leaves me open to have options. So these are my sponson weapons. And we're going to start with the rhino on the left here with the dozer blade. This is going to be my forward moving rhino. And we're going to put a melter weapon on there, magna melter, and a bolter. Okay, so we're going to get over there. See if we can get those on. Okay, so we've got a bolter there. Here's my melter. And we've got the dozer blade. Now it actually brings it up to 90 points, but don't be scared of that in this edition. Rhinos are very, very good. They're a lot tougher than they used to be with the armor 12 at the front and 5 hull points. In my last game, I started with 5 tanks. One of them was a Kratos, and I ended the game with 5 tanks. That's never happened before. My tanks survived. What is that all about? So Rhino's a lot better than they used to be. And the other Rhino, I've got a few points left, not too many. So for this one, we're going to go with a bolter and a heavy bolter, I think it is. Let me just check. Oh no, we went for a Havoc launcher. So the Havoc launcher for 5 points is very, very good for putting a status effect on some infantry. Gives you a little blast weapon. And blast weapons are, seems quite good this edition. So we're going to put the Havoc launcher on there and the bolter on there. So as you can see, having the weapons magnetised on the Predators and the Rhinos has enabled me to sort of fill that force in quite nicely. So that actually brings us up to, I think it's 1,470 points. Rhinos can take 12 guys in them now. It used to be 10 for a Rhino. Any more than 10, you can't take a Rhino anymore. But you can take a few extra guys in them now. So I've got 30 points left. Obviously I painted groups of 10, so I'm just going to stick some despoilers in here to fill up the units. That's 10, 20 extra, so we're going to go 12 in that Rhino. 10 points left. One more guy. All right, there we go. 11 tacks there. I feel like the 12 versus 10 tack thing might be quite interesting in some games. So we've used those last few points to fill in the tacks. So we've got a nice themed 1,500 point list that's fully legal, I think. Somebody can tell me if it's not. We started off with a Centurion. We've got his bodyguard of Cataphracti. They'll be going in the Land Raider at the back there. 2 Rhinos, 2 troops, pretty standard start. And then I've taken a armoured division with 3 Predators and a Scorpius. So there you go, 1,500 points, nice little build. Let me know how you're going to build your first army. So think of the 1,500 point level. I think that's a great place to start. Let me know if you do things differently. Thank you for checking in. Stuart from Shade of Heresy out. Have a lovely, lovely day. And I hope your games go well. Take care.